Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and its live news hub here at Adesawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Calipo, and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future.
Government announces lifting of ban on small-scale mining effective Monday, December 17.
3 persons suspected to be involved in the murder of Pram Mankralo Nenachere Benta III nabbed.
Boling Lana Mahamadu Abdullahi installed new regent of Dagbon.
Our missions tonight campaign to garner 50% of votes to create the proposed OT region, greeted with stiff opposition.
And on the international front this evening, Theresa May says it is still possible to get assurances MPs need to back her Brexit deal despite EU leaders ruling out any renegotiation.
We're live on DSTV channel 279 all across the world, on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, as well as on 3news.com. Let's get interactive as always. Let's hear from you. So our first story this evening, 3 persons, including the Stu Mankralo of Pram, suspected to have been involved in the murder of the Mankralo of Pram, Nenachere Benta III, have been arrested. At a news briefing in Pram, the divisional commander, ACP Doji Hloji, assured the people in the area of adequate security as investigations continue.
The Mankralo of Pram, Nene Achere Benta III, was gunned down by unknown persons at Dodowa in the Shai Osudoku district. The incident happened on Thursday afternoon at about 3:30 p.m. when he was returning to Pram from a meeting at Dodowa House of Chiefs. At a press briefing, the divisional commander of Ningo Pram, ACP Doji Hloji, revealed some arrests have been made, assuring the police is in control of the situation.
Pick up some people, some key suspects in the case. For security reasons, we would not like to disclose their identity now. So we've arrested some people and they are in custody now as we speak. The investigations are ongoing. So far, this is what we can tell you about the unfortunate murder of the Mankralo. The murder or the killing did not happen in Pram, but rather on his way from Apollonia coming. That was where the incident happened. Those we've arrested, after our initial investigation, we need to hand them over to the exact place that the incident took place.
The district chief executive of the area, Jonathan Doku, assured the people in the area to be calm as the police continue with their investigations.
I'm also appealing to everybody in Ningo Pram that if they have any information, they should quickly get in touch with us, the police, any other person, so the information to be given to us. That will lead to the arrest of people who are involved in this criminal act. Meanwhile, we want to assure everybody to go about their normal duties. The security is in safe hands.
It was a sober mood at the premises of the murdered Mankralo as the District Security Council called on the family to commiserate with them. Worried head of family, Nathaniel Nate, suspects foul play in the death of the traditional leader.
The whole thing happened like some of the people in the family are also included in the whole thing. Because of that, we cannot sit down now and then take any decision. So we are waiting for the children also to come. Maybe what they will also bring, it will be upon that 1 or 2 people shall also meet and then see what to do.
You get more of that in our subsequent bulletins. In some other news this evening, the ban on small-scale mining will be lifted on Monday, December 17. Chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who made the announcement at a news conference in Accra, said only small-scale miners duly vetted and cleared would be allowed to resume operations.
In August this year, announced the roadmap towards the lifting of the ban on small-scale mining. The lifting of the ban follows the successful vetting of some 907 out of the 1,350 small-scale miners. Of the 907, those who have completed the vetting process successfully have now been given licenses to operate. At the launch of government's new policy framework on regularizing and reforming mining activities in Ghana, Chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, announced that effective Monday, qualified small-scale miners can resume work. According to Professor Frimpong Boateng, who is also the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, this follows the successful implementation of all the strategies in the roadmap.
Having successfully implemented the strategies outlined in the roadmap, the ban on small-scale mining is being lifted as from Monday, 17 December.
He maintained the ban has been lifted to allow only miners vetted and validated to resume work.
Lifting of the ban will allow mining companies with valid company registration certificates, valid permits and licenses from the regulatory authorities, Minerals Commission, EPA, and Water Resources Commission, tax identification numbers, companies who have had their mining equipment licensed and electronically tagged by DVLA, and whose concessions have been vetted and given a QR code to go back to work.
Professor Frimpong Boateng enumerated reforms put in place to ensure mining is done in an environmentally friendly manner.
The reforms are meant to halt operational activities of the so-called large-scale mining companies employing small-scale technology. Halt the practice whereby mining companies abuse prospecting licenses and engage in actual mining without mining licenses. Amend laws that allow foreigners to provide mining services to small-scale miners. Ban the fabrication, transportation, and use of dredging mining equipment on the water bodies.
And government in June 2017 imposed a 6-month ban on small-scale mining as part of efforts to end illegal mining and its related activities which adversely affected the environment, particularly water bodies and forest resources. The ban was however extended to January 2018 until its subsequent lifting by the sector minister.
This has been long coming, but meanwhile, key stakeholders in the mining sector have been reacting to the lifting of the ban.
For the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, Godwin Ama pledged to collaborate with government to ensure the policy framework works.
I think it's a good news. Those who have not gone through the process, we encourage them to go through it so that when they are working, they will not have any problem. Our task force just yesterday arrested 3 Chinese nationals. We've also been able to clear our water bodies in collaboration with Vanguard, and we will not relent on that effort.
He enumerated steps being taken by the association to complement government efforts.
NASIM will effectively implement our peer review mechanism to promote sustainable mining. All members will sign a code of practice agreement. The code of practice, among other things, includes KPIs that will be set for concession, and those KPIs are complying with the buffer distances of mining concession as stipulated by the law to eliminate pollution of our river bodies and streams.
Convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Ken Ashbe, said the fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, has not been won yet. He charged stakeholders to ensure the policy framework is implemented to the letter.
If you listen to what the Minister for Environment said, they have put in place some critical measures. But let's go and get to the document and really review it. Implementation is going to be the key. Because as he said, definitely there are some people already doing the illegality. There are people who are on the water bodies. We hope that these 300 odd mining companies that are also going to go, because they are also going to start mining, they will also become one of the vanguards.
Let's turn to politics now in the camp of the NDC, as some concerned branch executives of the opposition NDC in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency are rooting for popular actor John Dumelo to contest for the vacant seat in the constituency. They believe that the staunch supporter of former President Mahama has what it takes to capture the seat for the NDC.
The branch executives, together with some supporters of the party, threw their support behind John Dumelo ahead of the pending by-election. The late MP for the area, Emmanuel Ejakun, died in USA in November last month, setting the stage for a possible by-election. Though the late MP is yet to be buried, political parties have already begun moves to take over the seat. It was reported on Tuesday that the two wives of the former MP were nursing their intention to contest the seat, a claim which was flatly denied by the second wife of the late MP, Lydia Al-Hassan. Addressing the media in Accra, spokesperson for the concerned branch executives of Ayawaso West Wogon, Justice Chepo, stated John Dumelo will be the ideal candidate to lead the party in the constituency.
We are gunning in for John Dumelo to represent the constituency in the forthcoming by-election. We all know about Mr. Dumelo. He's been with the party for a long time. He is in good standing of the party. He has been with us both good and bad times. And we think this is the right time for us to give him the opportunity to lead the party in this constituency.
He refuted claims it is too early for the NDC to select a candidate when the former MP is yet to be buried.
Despite the fact that he's there, we are mourning, we cannot also say that we will not follow due process. The MPP is preparing. In this case, NDC cannot sit idle and say because we sympathize with them, so we will not take any step. So we are only following the due process to prepare ourselves before the 60 days elapse.
Meanwhile, the man at the center of the campaign, John Dumelo, is yet to make a comment on the development.
Let's go to the northern region and to some good news. The Bolin Lana Mahamadou Abdullahi has been installed as the new regent of Dagban. His enscampment forms part of activities being undertaken as part of the funeral rites of Yana Mahamadou Abdullahi IV. The old Bewa Palace has now been officially handed to the Abudu royals to perform the funeral of the late Yana Mahamadou Abdullahi IV. Now, the Northern Regional Minister, Salifo Said, representing government, handed over the keys to the Abudus headed by Mbadugu Idrisu Idi at the forecourt of the newly constructed palace. The funeral rites will last for 2 weeks, after which the Andani family is also expected to perform that of the late Yana Yakubu Andani from January 4th to 18, 2019. Hundreds of police and military personnel have been deployed to the area to ensure peace.
You're watching News 360. Let's now turn to our MTN Vision reports this evening.
This is Jantiga Junior High School, of which they're in the Boku Municipal Assembly. The roof of the school building was removed in April 2017 after a heavy rainstorm. Part of the roof was removed, and the assembly came and removed part, and it's getting to a year now. They have not come back to do anything about it again. Now the JHS people have been sent to the primary, forcing the primary people to box 2 classes in 1 room. So we are pleading with the authorities to come and do something about it for us, because it's hindering teaching and learning activities.
We encourage you to also send to us your video report. You could do so via WhatsApp number. It's 055-1433-044. Stay with us here on News 360 for the latest of business news with Parkus Yasari.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the very latest in the world of business with me, Pa Kwesi Asari. Now, government has been cautioned against activities that will plunge state-owned banks into insolvency. This caution comes after government's announcement to individually resource the Agric Development Bank and NIB to enable them meet the central bank's minimum capital requirement of 400 million cedis and revamp their operations. Government's announcement follows an earlier decision to merge the two banks into a proposed National Development Bank, but after months of deliberation, that move has been stalled. Government's commitment to resource the two banks individually is to enable them play their traditional roles of stimulating investment in the manufacturing sector and transforming agriculture and agro-processing through strategic lending. The gesture is in line with the government's agenda of economic transformation through industrialization and increased investment in agriculture and agro-processing. But speaking to TV3 Business, banking consultant Richmond Etuahene said the new approach of universal banking has had a negative impact on most banks.
They were created and set up as development institutions. They were called DFI, Development Financial Institutions. But when we came to the universal capital model, they all diverted and went into universal banking. I work with NIB. NIB had a lot of projects. If I tell you, Nestle is one of the projects. Alcatel, even Accra Hotel, which used to be Novotel. NIB had investment there, and they were doing well. So for me, the problem is that if he's recapitalizing it, would they go into universal banking? Or would they stay specific on development agenda?
He advised that unless the two banks focus on their original role of strategic lending and agriculture, nothing much will come out of the recapitalization.
I believe that we should not look at political agenda. Everybody goes there, he belongs to a certain party. But if you want to do agric, please get agric expertise. If you want industry, like NIB used to be, NIB, when I went there were people who were skilled in industry. And they go out to tell you that if you create this factory, this is what's going on. They calculate it and tell you. But unfortunately, if you capitalize and you let them stay where they are, let me make the prophet of Edu. You come back 10 years and ask me, they have failed.
We're going to stay a while longer in the financial industry because deposits of 90% of customers who were defrauded by Savannah Brokerage Investment have been refunded. Well, according to the head of mobile money at MTN, Eli Hini, about 12 million Ghana cedis has been disbursed within the last 4 months.
In March this year, about 30,000 customers had their monies locked up after being lured into a Ponzi scheme operated by Savannah Brokerage Investment using the MTN mobile money platform. MTN, after various stakeholder consultations with the Bank of Ghana and victims, set up a guide on how to disburse the funds. In all, 12 million Ghana cedis has been disbursed.
We've paid everybody who paid or made any contribution based on what we agreed with the central bank using their wallet. Of course, remember, we couldn't pay 100% because we only paid based on the amount of funds we were able to recover. Now, there are still a few people who have not been paid. And the reason is these are people who went through agents.
Head of mobile money at MTN, Eli Hini, advised customers to be wary of such schemes.
We encourage people to do transactions themselves. If you do transactions yourself, we are able to identify you easily. And when issues like this come up, it is easy to identify you and support you much better than the channel of agents where we now need to verify, validate, and instances where if you don't have a very good agent, they may also be pretending to be the ones who initiated the transactions by themselves.
The remaining 10% are still going through document validation for payment.
In other news, Communications Minister Esla Owusu Ekofo has warned against investing in cryptocurrency products not licensed by the central bank. She cautioned individuals who fall victims to such schemes not to expect any assistance from government.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency platforms serve as a medium of exchange with no physical form, yet exist only in the form of a network. It is not regulated by the central bank, even though the network is completely decentralized. The Bank of Ghana in November warned that it had not issued licenses to such companies to carry out deposit-taking activities. Global Coin Community Help GCCH, a cryptocurrency investment syndicate, is in the news, having duped 109,259 investors.
Bitcoins and virtual currencies are unregulated, and so you engage in those transactions at your own risk. Please don't call on the government to bail you out if that venture goes wrong. When those alerts come, it is because they are operating in a gray space, the dark net. They're doing all kinds of things which are beyond the reach of the regulators and beyond the protective mechanisms of our legislative framework.
Well, that's all for the business segment on News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more business news stories, do log on to our website, www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesiasari.
Welcome back to News 360. Let's get into our mission segment this evening. It's brought to you by Star Ghana with support from UK Aid, NIDA and the European Union. Now, the campaign to garner 50% of registered voters to cast their ballot in favor of the creation of the proposed OT region at a market at Esuokoko in the Kratchi East District was greeted with stiff opposition. Members constituting Joint Consultative Committee had to devise means to convince the traders.
This is one of the campaign songs that greets anyone who visits the proposed OT region enclave. In this part of the districts, lots of awareness has been created through this platform, but this is within Esuokoko and few other adjoining towns. Greater number of the Kratchi East populace are, however, yet to come to terms with the campaign because there has not been much funding, although there are some volunteers willing to advance the campaign to the remotest parts of the district. Some indigents from the proposed OT region have since formed the Joint Consultative Committee with a special task of campaigning to canvass 100% yes votes. All the areas to constitute the proposed OT region have been segregated into 3 zones, and so campaign teams have been assigned to all. This is intended to facilitate door-to-door campaign, even to the hard-to-reach communities. The news team then followed them to the campaign grounds. People leading the campaign team include a former district chief executive for Kratchi Nchumru during ex-President Kufuor's regime, Kofi Demetia, and Dr. Inusa Abdul Nasiru, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana. The entourage first paid a courtesy call on the paramount chief and elders of the Akrosu traditional area. The exchange of fraternal greetings was followed by a customary rite. Paramount chief of the Akrosu traditional area, Nana Odame Jemfi III, is confident successful carving of the OT region from Volta would be a breakthrough for the indigents.
There are better schools in almost every community in the southern part of the Volta region, but the situation is different here. Our children miss job interviews in the south because of the journey they have to cover.
He said traditional rulers have placed a temporary ban on some religious activities, including Christmas convention, a reason best explained by him.
Convention is rife during Christmas festivities, so if we do not institute drastic measures, we won't achieve our goal.
At Esiokoko, an extensive deba, which was made possible through the only information center, was held for the eligible voters. They have come from far and near to participate in the deba.
Oh, Tiriji! Yes! Oh, Tiriji! Yes!
The team is leaving no challenge unresolved in the midst of limited resources.
It is about development. It is about our welfare. It is about the progress of this community. Looking at the divide, the differentials in development projects are so wide that we think that the creation of the region is the solution to all these differences.
But why are the people in this part of the country eagerly championing this voluntary cause?
If there is any problem right now for you to be transferred from here to the nearest regional hospital is Ho, Trafalgar. Before you get there, there's a town called Grubi Akanium in the Krachin Chumburu. You've been there. You've been there. Workers over there, government workers over there, leaving the place to go and transact business in the regional capital in Ho. It takes them 3 days for a 2-hour project that you're going to be doing in Ho.
The Joint Consultative Committee was faced with stiffer opposition in their quest to convince some of the traders at the market. Thursday marks the community's market day, and so a lot of traders from far places have come to transact business. For the OT Region Creation Campaign team, it's a better time to execute their mission. Here, some traders have different perception about the division of the voter region. Those who perceive participating in the referendum means endorsing the president in office, for instance, opposed the campaign. Those who are also curious asked questions.
More on the referendum in our subsequent bulletins. But that's all for our mission segment this evening. It's brought to you by Star Ghana with support from UK Aid, Danida and the European Union.
Right, so tonight we'll start with Jam in 10 on 3FM 92.7. My name is Miriam Osei Edgeman. 4 DJs have qualified to battle it out at the grand finale of this year's 3FM Fat to Fit disc jockeying competition slated for the 22nd of September. Battle for the bragging rights and other mouth-watering prizes are at stake for this year's Jam in 10 winners.
Please don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. That's a job.
The 3FM studios came alive as 5 semi-finalists got on the turntables to display their versatility to earn a slot for the Jam in 10 finals. One after the other, contestants were given 10 minutes to impress listeners and judges. After impressive rounds of musical display, listeners were given the opportunity to vote via social media. The votes were collected and brought to the presenter.
Was 64, making 74%. Snacky had 4.8% votes, public votes, but 88.2% judges vote. That makes it 93%. Black Boy had 23% public votes, but 75.6% judges vote, making it 98.6%.
In the end, DJ Faculty, DJ Nasty, DJ Snacky, and DJ Black Boy were all selected for the finals. They expressed their readiness for the finals.
But what I'm going to say is, let's watch out for the finals. I'm bringing my A game. It's a secret. It's a secret. My A game.
I have a whole lot of things to put out there. You get it? I'm good. Just watch out for the best. The final is going to be fun. Make sure you're on it. Don't turn out, turn in. Okay?
But when the result came, I saw that the people behind me were so great enough. They didn't even put me to shame. So kudos to everyone that voted for me.
Well, away from the 3FM Jam in 10 DJ competition, Saturday night just got exciting again after a successful relaunch of TV3's musical concert, Music. The show returns to the studios promising nothing but the best and amazing performances from A-list artists in the music industry. On Saturday, Studio B will host Roughtown Records signee and Uber driver hitmaker Wendy Shea alongside Kechek of the Alugun to Gun fame. Both artists promise to showcase their best on stage. The show promises to be bigger, better, and fun-packed. The show begins at 8 p.m. Studio's audience must be seated by 7 p.m. Make sure you make it 8. And that's about it for entertainment news. There's more on 3news.com. I'm Miriam Osei Ajman. Have a great weekend.
It certainly will be a great weekend.
Yes.
With music.
It's back and it's big.
Absolutely. Make a date tomorrow. But I want to say thank you, as always. It's been great having you as company on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Natalie Forts. There's a lot more news on our website. It's 3news.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening.